This episode of The Totally Rad Show is brought to you by Click It or Ticket. Coming up, it's time for the new martial arts movie, True Legend.
Today in movies, we are talking about True Legend, which is a brand new wuxia picture, a wire fu kung fu movie that is out in select cities right now.
And is this the beginning of a series of movies?
I don't know, Alex.
Because it focuses on one wushu master, but it seemed like True Legends. I thought maybe this was like this guy
did what my dad did.
Yeah.
It's not Blockbusters.
It's not
or
Blockbusters.
Walmarts, as my dad would say.
It's one singular
It is True Legend. Yes.
Got it.
I don't know, Alex.
I don't know, Alex.
Hey.
Let's go to the interwebs.
So, True Legend is about a martial arts school instructor who is left for dead and his son is kidnapped, who then has to train with the Wushu gods to get revenge. There are cameos by Michelle Yeoh and David Carradine.
Oddly at the end for 5 minutes.
Oddly at the end for 5 minutes. And it's directed by Yuen Woo Ping, who's probably the most famous action choreographer, having choreographed the action sequences in The Matrix and in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, but a plethora of Hong Kong action films from the past, all the golden oldies of Jet Li and Jackie Chan. So, Alex, you know, I've mentioned on the show before, this was my life, was Hong Kong action films in high school, and I've since then become a little bit over it. But in those years, you've still been gobbling it up. All these recent action kung fu movies you still have been loving. I know you've been watching them, all the Jet Li stuff and all that.
Of course.
So what did you think of True Legend?
Very Chinese. I don't know if anybody told you that, but it's Chinese.
It's a Chinese film.
It's a Chinese film.
Yes.
The funny thing is, I enjoyed it in spite of the movie, if that makes any sense.
Nope.
It starts out it's very like CG. It almost reminds me of like the trailers you see for like the Indian version of the Hulk or Iron Man, where it's like
Or the Hong Kong action films with CG.
I mean, I guess, but I didn't know their CG was like that CG, where like birds look like they were in King's Quest, stuff like that.
That's actually the bird from King's Quest.
It is. He's
really
he had to move to Hong Kong to get work because the American CG is so good.
Actually, I bet you it's probably a mainland film, not a Hong Kong film. I'm just saying that so letters don't happen.
Whack! Letters right in the face.
Yeah, okay, sorry.
But here's the thing. I actually had a really good time with this movie. I think the only sort of odd part about this movie, I mean, there was some really... The bad brother is really good. The guy is good. The concept is cool. You know,
He has like the 5 deadly venom fists.
Five venom fists, which is freaking... When he's like training it and getting bit by all this thing, it's like, what?
cool.
It's sewed in armor onto his body. I mean, it's like, there's some really cool, fun concepts. Great fight scenes. I mean, great fight scenes. It gets a little weird with the sort of like through the bushes guys of like, hee hee, woo, you can't catch me. Ah! I mean, a little like, it's like watching a Teletubbies or something for a second, and you're like, where am I?
Cultural differences.
Cultural
and humor.
differences, yeah. But the thing I found the most sort of odd is that we were seeing the story of the development of a certain form of wushu or kung fu, and it really felt like the one part of the story that wasn't told was that this was the development of that art. It sort of was like at the end, oh yeah, by the way, that's the guy that made that art. And I was like, wait, what? One, he only did that for like 10 minutes in the end of the movie. Two, there's a way cooler story of how that form was actually created than that story.
It's about being drunk
being
in boxing.
about drunken boxing, yeah.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? Like,
Well,
if
Yuen
somebody
Woo
was
Ping
like,
actually
I mean,
directed Drunken Master, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's
That's
kind of
what
the
you're
movie
referring to,
of the bipolar action hero who is either like, I gotta train to the point where people think I'm crazy, or I'm just not gonna do anything. My son can go. I don't care. It's very odd.
It's funny. I was thinking of it as Regarding Henry, the kung fu movie, which I thought was brilliant when it was happening. Anyway.
I'm a sucker for great action sequences. I could watch martial arts, well choreographed martial arts action sequences in a vacuum for hours and hours. And there are a lot of action sequences in this movie, and almost all of them, I mean, I think every single one is spectacular and very different from the last. That is a mark of a really amazing action film where each fight feels completely different than the last one. And I would venture to guess that there are more minutes fighting in this movie than anything else, which is incredible. And this is not a short movie, it's a full 2-hour movie. And there are so many action sequences that it outweighs any of the drama, which
High
is
APM.
yes.
Yep, hits per minute.
High APM.
Action per minute.
Action per minute.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing because the dramatic moments are a little silly. This feels a little bit like if someone had told me, oh, this is the Tekken film or the Street Fighter film, I would have believed it in the sense that all the characters are larger than life. It's basically a superhero movie, and you have these, like you guys said, the
5 Venom fists.
yeah, and he's got, you know, like you said, the dark gold armor, which is, he's a super villain.
Yeah.
You know, the movie's
It's all common tropes of
true.
the genre.
True.
Yeah.
I will say though, structurally the film is very odd. It feels like an hour film and then this like 45-minute sequel to that movie.
Yeah, totally.
And
It ends.
it ends. It has a climax, and the freaking last fight of the movie, which turns out to not be the last fight, but the last fight of that first movie is amazing. I mean, I've never seen a fight like inside a well, which is crazy. There's so many crazy, awesome things that happen in this movie. It's great, but then it so changes tone and is so bizarre where it goes
then
after that.
The whole movie is actually about that changed tone end thing, which is where I got really confused.
Yeah, I highly recommend people watch this though, because the fights are so satisfying.
Glad you guys feel that way.
I hated it.
No, it just I mean, what I think is really cool is that so a lot of the post Shaw Brothers modern wuxia movies, what these historical epics get very mired in weird political stuff between, you know, the generals of the armies and
the prequels in the Chinese way.
Yeah. And I liked that this movie, this entry into the genre was like the old Shaw Brothers movies. It was very superhero-ish and very like pared down story. It's a dude who just needs to train and get revenge. Train and get revenge. That is a Shaw Brothers thing, not a like the general from this army and the sister of the king and the you know, like all those things really get in the way of the cool action scenes. And this
and
was
it starts
like
there.
Yeah, it starts there for a second, and then you're like, oh no, this is cool.
Yeah.
I found the CG to be incredibly distracting, and I didn't get much out of the action sequences. But I tend to not get much out of this style. I will say Yuen Woo Ping did direct a movie with Jet Li, which Michelle Yeoh and Jet Li, called Tai Chi Master. I believe it was retitled Twin Dragons. That is similar in tone. It's a little bit light, a little bit goofy, and incredible action sequences. I highly recommend that. But I think, like these guys, if you see like the trailer for this, or you like these movies, or you like Crouching Tiger, or you like the action sequences of Crouching Tiger, but never like sought out more stuff like that, I think you're gonna have a blast watching this. I think this is for you. Just personally, not for me.
But especially if this is in a theater, see this in a
Preferably one
theater.
in an urban area with a raucous crowd.
But I
think
mean,
you
like,
will have a very good
But I
time.
mean, like, the ability to see a movie like this on the big screen is a treat in and of itself.
Right.
You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and it's very much not Crouching Tiger.
No.
Very much not. It doesn't even aspire to that.
It's like if Crouching Tiger is an Oscar-nominated movie, which
it
it was, this movie would be like General Hospital with fighting.
What?
Yeah,
It was
as
very
someone who did some
melodramatic. It
fighting
was
in
very
General
like,
Hospital, yeah, it's I just had a blast with it, and I'm sad that you didn't like the action sequences because I found them to be so inventive and so different from one another, and it really did feel like now I'm fighting the wrestling guy, so I got to do my wrestling. Now I'm fighting the this guy, so I had to. I would love to have a discussion about CG in general in martial arts movies. Are you guys just opposed to the idea of it at all?
No,
because I feel like
it was just that the CG, even if this was a movie about river rafting, the CG is so distracting.
taking away from the quality of the CG. Like the idea that a guy would leap and throw knives, and then the knives are CG flying through the air. Is that objectionable to you?
No.
I think that was
That's
probably the
Ninja
least
Assassin.
objectionable CG implementation.
Right.
I'm not a fan of
Augmenting.
effects in this kind of action film anyway.
Well, let me ask you this. What's the difference between that and a guy throws a knife and another guy goes, "Ah!" and he has the knife in his hand? I mean, it's just creating an effect of an idea.
I was distracted in the beginning when the guys were climbing on the wall and didn't feel like they were in the real place.
Yeah, it looked
and
like the cutscene to
and
the,
all
like,
the
Sega Genesis version of Mortal Kombat.
all of the action scenes with the wuxia got in the dreamscape.
Yeah.
Felt real. I could never. It never. I always
it was a
liked
dreamscape.
what's so great in that movie Tai Chi Master I reference is they're like fighting in a bar and they all use like real objects. He's like uses a table and flips over the. I always like that kind of choreography where they're this thing and they're that and he jumps on this, spins the table. That's all like really cool. Whereas this, it's a lot of the high flying stuff. Better than some. There's some that are worse with the high flying.
There's one sequence right toward the beginning where he fights the Iron Twins.
Yeah.
And the girl and the guy are fighting him by himself, and the girl and the guy are using each other as props.
Yeah.
I just thought it was so awesome, and
it was cool.
there's so many different kinds of things you see in this.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I mean, I think a lot of people love it.
Just people. You don't know what you love.
A lot of awesome people.
All right, everybody, remember to stick around for this day in rad history, but first we want to thank our sponsors. Very important sponsor this time. We talk about this every once in a while, maybe about once a year, but it is a fact that men your age, aka our age, probably your age, are less likely than women to buckle up.
Why?
This blows my mind.
Why is that?
Because
Men are stupid.
Men are stupid. Nearly 75% of male passengers 18 to 34 killed in passenger vehicles were not wearing their seatbelts. That's a very large portion of the people killed in automobile accidents simply weren't clicked, especially
So
at
easy.
night. 2/3 of the people who died in accidents at night are not buckled up. So 2/3, literally 2/3 of the people would probably have survived perfectly well had they been buckled up. You may be a safe driver, but you do not know who else is out there, especially at night.
Yeah.
It's not cool. It's just not cool. Buckle up. Now, how are they going to make people buckle up? One, it's illegal to not buckle up. Two,
They made it a law.
they made it a
Suck
law.
it.
Bam. Police are gonna get ya. The police will be out in force leading up to Memorial Day weekend. Hundreds of state and local law enforcement and highway safety officials across the nation will participate in Ticket or Click It from
Click it or ticket.
Click It or
Ticket or
Ticket.
click
I
it.
always
It's like
do
you're
that.
due no matter what you do.
I know, I always do that. Click It or
Formerly
Ticket
known as Buckle It or
2011
Suckle It.
from May 16th to May 30th. They'll be looking for you day and night and make sure that everyone is buckled up. So do yourself a favor, save your own life and a few bucks. Click It or Ticket. Thank you guys very much for sponsoring. All right, people, we will see you tomorrow.
You can't miss tomorrow's episode when we review the new Pirates movie.
Today is May 18th, and on this day in rad history, in 1897, Bram Stoker's Dracula was published.
Ooh.
Little known fact, not written by Bram Stoker. I'm just kidding, it was.
Oh, I was like, awesome. Who did he stab and steal the manuscript
Did you guys
from?
ever actually read that book?
I remember we talked about those weekly readers, and I ordered like the thing.
Bram
And I remember
Stoker's Dracula?
tried reading. Not weekly readers. It was for school though. We had
Yeah,
it.
it was like
Scholastic?
the
A book. We had a book fair thing.
Yeah, book fair, yeah.
'Cause I remember I was really into Edgar Allan Poe. I would get all the Edgar Allan Poe books.
was his
I remember
emo
trying
phase.
to read Dracula and not. It was tough to get into. Did you ever read?
I never
for
did.
realsies?
No.
No, me neither. Just saw the movies.
Thanks, at Quinn George, for sending that in.
Thanks, Van Helsing. At Van Helsing.
Amazing.